Hey, good afternoon. Today we're going to talk about cuttings. My name is Troy and this is Fig and Fruit Nursery and Orchards channel, and I wanted to show you what I had going here. These are some cuttings I started, some little nub cuttings, as you can see. Let's see if I got here's an ink pen just to give you an idea how big they are. There's a regular size ink pen. So that kind of gives you an idea how big these things are. And you can see the roots. These others haven't, they're just kind of getting going. They're just kind of starting, and I have been growing these. These have been under light. It is time to pot this one here up. We're just gonna, tell you what, I got some scissors here. We're gonna cut this one, cut these apart. Oop, not a problem, look at there. Just try to get in here and tear these loose like that. It would be better. There we go. Now we got some room where we can cut. I don't normally tape them together like that, but I just happen to do these that way. All right, now we're ready to pot that up. And these here can go back in the little container under the light. This one here is starting to get some, but I'm going to go ahead and let it grow more root before I pot it up. And that one there, it's only been in there about a week. These others have been in there about 3 weeks. So it generally takes about 3 weeks to get them looking like that. And here's what I've got them in. This is what I use. And it's just a little coco core sponge. That's all it is. And they're a little pricey, but you can even start seeds and stuff in these, like tomato plants and peppers, or you can do all kinds of clones. This is what I also do my green tip cuttings in. And then I generally root it with, I dip everything in Clonex. And I also, you want to make sure that your cuttings are really clean before you put them in this, because this is sterile, and you want to keep everything clean so you don't get no diseases or funguses or molds growing in there. And kind of the same thing on these. I've already got some Clonex on the bottom of it. I just put some in the cap here, and then we just, like on these, I just stick them in this right here like that. It's already got some wax on top of it. On these here, I'll just put them in their own little, I got little sandwich bags I put them in. And you can also, I'll tell you something else that's probably a good idea to do when you first put it in there. I like to take this Clonex mist and mist right down in the hole there. Put just a little extra of that down in there. That'll help it root. Put it down in there like that. And then I just twist it like that. And then you can put a piece of tape on it like this if you want. This would be an easy enough way to do it. Kind of tape that up like that so it stays shut. There you go. Or you could take a little zip tie like that and zip around it if you wanted to. But that's all there is to it. Also, you want to make sure that when you do this stuff that it is labeled. Don't mess up and not label it. That's an RDB. I like this little blue tape because it pretty much anything you put it to, it will release. So just kind of put it on there like that. And there we go. We are ready to go. So there's one of them. So, all right, we're going to get this potted up. I'm going to show you how I pot these up. All right, now let's talk doing a little potting up here. Got a couple different options, but first off, I want to say this: when you're it don't matter if you're making fig pops or you're potting these things up from root or you're rooting them. It's really, really important that you use a substance. This is, I use HP Pro Mix, which is, HP stands for high porosity, and you'll notice that I've got this in a container that seals. This stuff is sterile outside of the mycorrhizals you get with it. So there's no fungus gnat larvas. There's no fungus gnats in here, okay? Very important. And do not dehydrate this without a larvicide of some kind. You could use this one here, or there is another one that you can get that's also a mosquito dunk. I'll try to attach it so if you want to buy it instead of this one here. Either one of them work perfectly fine, but it's very, very, very important to, when you hydrate this stuff, that you have this larvicide in here. And if at any point you are watering these things, it has the larvicide in it. When you pot your tree up into this, your fig pop, or your little cutting like this, of course this fig pop ain't going to fit in there. That's off. You want to use something at least this size. This is a 4x9. You at least want to use something that big to pot your fig pot in. But make sure that you still use this soil, this HP high porosity with the larvicide, and don't ever, 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 ever water your tree when it is in this pot for the first 8 months. Don't water it without the larvicide. Just don't. Now, when you take and pot it up into a bigger pot, that's fine. You're fine. But you want to continue to water this thing even when it's potted up into this. As long as it's in a pot this size or this size, just water it with the larvicide. I mean, 1 tablespoon per gallon of water. That's not very much. This is a 2 ounce thing. This is just a little 2 ounce bag, and like 2 ounce. That's all I use a year is 2 ounces. As much as I do, 2 ounces is enough. But you got to use it. Very important. All right, now let's pot up our little. We don't need to pot our this up. I just wanted to bring you down and show, and you can see the moisture in it. The biggest reason I use this container here to put my potting soil in, and I use this is a 20 quart. It holds just the right enough of HP Pro Mix that I can put about 3/4 of a gallon to a gallon of water in it. And it's not too wet, it's not too dry, it's just right. So I just mix this up in small batches. It works for me. I found that, that was a good ratio, and that 20 quarts was a gallon of water. So I went with that, and it works really well. So let's get this out here. Ooh. Very nicely rooted. I'm going to pot it into this. Once again, I'm using the same sterile mix. Don't be, till these things are mature, don't use anything else. Now, I'm going to tell you with some experience here. You want to make sure you get your sponge under the soil line so that it stays fairly moist. Because you don't want your sponge to dry out. And you want your roots to grow. This is a good, the way I got this in here now, it's moist enough that them roots will get plenty of nutrition and continue to grow. And that's all you got to do. Set that baby under light. It hadn't even started leafing out yet, which is great. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But that's how I pot these up. And like I said, you want to always try to use don't be buying potting mix. Go buy this thorough HP Pro Mix. Buy the HP high porosity. It's just got the right amount of perlite in it. It's plenty enough airy. And you don't, see, I can't even squeeze water out of it, but it clumps. So it's just perfect. You got just enough moisture in there that lasts, you know, plenty long enough to get that root out. And these, I have not even introduced this to the light. It's been in the dark upstairs and it's still growing out like that. And you can see it's fairly humid because it's growing little nodules all over the place. When I plant this up, I will probably sink it down like that all the way to the bottom. Probably, it's starting to get a root right there. They all are starting to show little roots here and there. I've got about 50 done. I'm getting ready to do about 400 more. But there we go, and that's how I root my cuttings and how I pot them up. Thanks for watching.